Yo, what's up, guys? Stingray Trades here. It is February 16th, 2019. This is my week in review. I'm just going to review my trades that I took this week. I took 4 trades total, including 2 on pound dollar, 1 on dollar yen, and 1 on euro USD. I will cover the first 3. The fourth one I'll just kind of talk about real quick. It's not really much to cover as it was a scalp trade, so I don't really want to show the chart, but I'll just kind of talk about it real quick. I'm also going to talk about dealing ranges in this and how I'm kind of incorporating those in my strategies. It's something I picked up from Chris Laurie, and it's just kind of helping me navigate the markets more and kind of figure out where I want to be putting my stop losses, how I want to be taking profit in terms of like tranche taking profits and scaling in and out. Um, so yeah, let's get into it. So my first trade was on dollar yen. This was I actually took a 1 hour loss on this, as you can see. I took this really early on in the week, like as soon as the market opened. I didn't take it right then. I waited for this 4 hour to close, but this 4 hour close was a swing failure of the previous week's high. So that was still before the first London session. So it was really early in the week. I was okay with taking that trade. Hindsight. So after looking at this and reviewing a few other things and reviewing my journal a bit, I've been noticing that maybe I want to be taking half size if I'm not trading in either London Open or New York Open of Monday. If it's before basically Monday's close, I'm going to be taking half size from now on is something I'm probably going to be experimenting with and implementing. Just because of the risk of stop runs and just early on fuckery in the week, that whole thing. Um, so yeah, that might be something I kind of switch over to. But for now, I took a full or 1 hour loss on this. I took full risk right here. I entered on this 4 hour close, and this was a perfectly valid setup for me. And I was basically aiming for these lows into this block and eventually fill in this void in here. Um, but this was basically the main area I was looking to take it to, and I probably would have taken a majority of my profit here. Okay. Um, that was pretty much it on the setup. I would have taken this again. There's no reason I wouldn't have. This was a perfectly valid setup. My bias was bearish on it. Overall, I did like this trade. Anyways, all right, so on to pound dollar. Sorry, zoom out a bit. So these were the dealing ranges I was talking about, right? Basically just these lines, right? And so the way SZ puts it is the range moves in markets. He basically goes, if you're not at an all-time high or an all-time low, then you're within some type of price leg. You're within some past price leg, so you're basically within some type of range, right? Whether it's this leg in here or this whole leg in here, right? This high to this low or this low to this high, whatever range you pick, right? You're within some type of price range. And the way I use it is the way Chris Laurie taught it, so dealing ranges. The market is going to move in ranges. So there's a range in here, 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 right? And the market's just going to move from one range to the next. And if it can't hold one range, then it's going to drop down to the one below it. Or if it can't, and if it rejects that one, then it's going to go up to the one above it, right? And it's just going to keep moving from range to range to range. So you can use these as scalping targets. You can use these as take profits. You can use these as first trouble areas. You can use these for stop losses, right? There's a lot of different ways you can use this just to kind of implement it. I mean, this is something that I've always kind of used. And I just haven't put on my charts. But as I'm noticing that I'm not taking enough profit at first trouble areas, I'm not taking enough off the table when it does hit my initial target, I'm going to start consciously more putting these on charts and marking it out more and kind of writing where my first trouble areas are and stuff. It's just something, again, that I've noticed through my journaling. So yeah, so basically this was the trade I took on pound dollar. I took my initial long in here. I was basically looking, so if we look back out at this level, right, this was a key high time frame level, this blue block for me, right? So I was looking to get involved. I saw this down move right here, and it created this small 15 or this hourly down candle before that move, right? You see this impulse move led to this whole move up, right? So it retested it here, but it didn't quite retest it here, so it left this little gap right here, and then it just rallied, right? And you see how none of this got filled in, right? All of this was inefficient moves, and it just moved from one range to the next, right? So after it traded this range right here, it couldn't hold it, right? Broke back within this range. Couldn't hold this, broke back down within this range. Held this support and resistance level, rallied, rejected this range, broke back within it. See, and you see it was strong, so it didn't actually come back down and retest this range low. It just rallied, it broke this, retested it, and went. Right, same thing here. Broke back above this range, couldn't hold it, tested it from below, right, and got back within it. Right, tested this, came back down, rally above, held this for a bit, rally, broke back down within this range, right? And you see how it just plays these ranges. And you can literally scalp these ranges if you wanted to. That's not how I trade. I just use them more as just reference points, just kind of navigating the market. So back to why I took this trade. So you see you have this rounded retest, right? This nice rounded retest, and it doesn't comes down into this high time frame level, but it doesn't come down into this low time frame level yet, right here. Right? You see how this leaves this little gap again that we were talking about right there. And yeah, it kind of swing fills that low, and you could have played that for a nice, could have played this move up for a nice scalp trade. And again, look at these dealing ranges, right? Breaks through that one, rejects off this one, holds this range low, hits the range high, and it plays this range before it breaks down again, right? So that's how you could have also played that as well. I didn't take that trade. I waited for it to come down here. And this is very similar to the silver trade I took, right? I was waiting for it to come down into my level, take out this old low, and then give me some kind of trigger before I stepped in. I wasn't going to buy this blindly. So let's see what the trigger was. Look at on the 15-minute, right? Made this low, made this high, and made this higher low, higher high. You see how I kept making higher lows and higher highs? I was like, all right, if it comes back below this low and into this level, this black level right here, then I'm going to buy it. All right, so I put a bid right there. I had my stop loss below this daily block. Below this daily block right here. Let's clean this up. All right, so I have my stop loss below there. And my entry was about right there, let's say. Okay. So basically my entry was right there, my stop loss was low there, and I was basically fine as long as it held this range low. And if we go back out to the 4 hour or the 1 hour, right, we can kind of see, we'll go to the 1 hour. We can kind of see that this range low, right, this low to this high, this is Monday's range, was held and respected, right, into this level. So as long as it wasn't any high time frame closes below this, and if we go back onto the 4 hour, we can see that 4 hour actually closed above that level I was trying to buy, right? So I was okay with those closes, and that's why I was fine with holding that position right there. Sorry. Okay. So basically what I did is it broke this high right here, right? Because this was the higher high that I had made at that point. So once it broke this high again, I was like, all right, I can move my stop up above this low. So I moved my stops up, okay? So I moved my stops up to about here. And then I entered another position on this pullback. And I was like, as long as it holds this high, I'm looking to get back in. So I actually had my stop, I think, below here, my new stop for this position. And I entered a second position right here. Okay. So I trailed, so I had two separate positions running, right? And this was on half risk. So I trailed basically half my risk out on this, and I added another half position risk. So I was back at 1R. Okay. And then basically this was the down move that led to the new high, and it broke the mid range, right? So this was a new reference point. I was looking for this block to hold. And this is kind of where I made my mistake. I kind of trailed it too tightly. Basically, I was aiming for this as my first trouble area, this level right in here. This level, and then this, right, as my two targets. And then we were maybe looking to take it higher depending on what dollar I was doing. But that was my short-term targets, right? These were the first trouble areas I was talking about earlier that I need to be taking more profit at. And so I basically trailed my stops below this low right here, and I went to sleep. And this basically rallied up, and it was going nicely, nicely. And I think it was right around here when I left. And I was like, all right, I'll probably come up, take out. I moved my other take profit side, both my take profits down at this level right here, right? Let's clean this up. Right, so I had my basically stop right here, and I was aiming for this level. Okay. I went to sleep and I trailed my stops below this low, and I got taken out for basically break even on this position right here, right? And then a 1R on this position, this initial long. And it eventually went to target, right? It hit my initial target. So that would have been, let's see. That would have been 3.5R right there, right? So that would have covered my losses or my loss on dollar yen, and then my loss on euro USD later on in the week. So that's just something that I could work on, and just something I need to take note of, that I did trail too tightly, so maybe work on trailing stops more and using dealing ranges again, or fibs, or something else, some type of other take or stop loss trailing technique, right? So I do need to work on that a little bit more. But that was pretty much it. And then if we look after this did fail, right, hit target, and this was there was some kind of new stuff going on too. And if you see it broke down, right, it broke below. After it broke below this low, I was like, all right, I'm probably wrong then, because then it's making a lower low at this point, right? And it did shoot up and make this, but then look, it kind of broke down, right? And we were kind of looking at this in the morning. We're like, what the fuck is going on? Thing just kind of shot up. But you see how it broke down here, and then it made a nice rounded retest of this level, right? This could have been another mitigation trade. I wasn't paying attention to it at this point. I should have been looking for, I should have been changing my bias on dollar and looking for shorts on GBP USD. So that's something else I kind of took note of in my journal, that there was a mitigation trade there that I didn't take, and that was partially because I could have said it was into support, right? But I should have really been looking to take this if dollar was looking so strong like it was. And then the last trade I just wanted to talk about real quick was Euro USD. I took a scalp trade on it, and it was something that was kind of 100% my fault, and it was laziness on my part. So I kind of took a note of that in my journal, and I will be trading with less size next week, and actually taking a couple days off just because I do need to focus more on that. It's just kind of more of like a punishment thing to myself. Basically, I didn't look at the economic calendar, and I took a position literally 2 minutes before CPI numbers came out, and I just got stopped out immediately, right? And that's something I need to be really conscious of, and not something that I can kind of take lightly and just kind of brush off. So yeah, I will be kind of just focusing on journaling and working on my trading plan next week, and kind of really trying to nail that down, and kind of iron out some more things in that next week. But other than that, that's kind of how my week went. All right, guys, have a good one.